Alright, I am back with another Destiny 2 video. I did not just record a 10-minute video without hitting the record button. Definitely didn't do that. Anyway, so I'm here to talk about the dungeon, and most importantly, my favorite thing I got from the dungeon. And it's not the exotic, I did not get that. But after playing the dungeon, I definitely agree that it is one of Destiny's best of all time. The list is getting pretty long at this point, but if we're doing a tier list, I would definitely say it is in the top tier. You can have your own picks for that. I really like Prophecy, but the way they designed this dungeon, 3 boss encounters, the scaling of the mountain, the traps that are hilarious, the screebs and the spikes and all that, they're funny without being frustrating. And I think once everyone figured out the prison mechanic, that was, it was funny to watch everyone in jail for the first 30 minutes, but, we figured that out relatively quickly, and now it's not cumbersome anymore. Having 3 bosses instead of 2 bosses and some other encounter is better, I would say. More fun to figure out different DPS strats in that. As I've mentioned, before I even ran the dungeon, I farmed the first boss like a zillion times trying to get the rocket sidearm and some of the armor. And that was very fun, but it teaches you kind of the base mechanics of the eyes and the totems and things. The final boss, obviously, is, I think, a really great highlight where it takes the concept of, like, moving around the map for different DPS phases, like which you kind of see second boss, and it translates them in a different way to a final boss where you're scaling and scaling and scaling, and you have broken up damage phases that you can kind of just wait on if you want to farm ammo, if you want to farm super, stuff like that. So it's both frantic and not frantic. It's frantic in the moment when you're doing things like punching the Scorn guys to get rid of your poison buff, and trying to get a totem locked when you're surrounded by dudes, and like there's a scramble there, but then there's a break. You can go up a level and then do it, and then keep doing that rotation. The damage strats are proving interesting, where everyone wants to be Strand Titan because it's so powerful, but then things are flying eventually, and it's a lot of fun kind of figuring out what to do. I was just on well lock because, of course, everyone needs a well lock, and I usually run all this stuff first on my Warlock. And I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic. I need to get deeper into the lore, which I have not really explored, but the bits and pieces I did hear of it from some of the collectibles seemed really interesting. But I wanted to focus on my favorite thing, the rocket sidearm. I freaking love this thing. I don't think I've instantly fallen in love with a weapon in a million years. Like, not like this. It has been a really long time. And yes, the loot pool in the dungeon is not great. The sniper and sword are pretty useless, and the strand bow has like 1 or 2 good rolls, and that's sort of it. The sidearm, which I am showing off in some Gambit footage here, which I'm pretty sure we definitely lose, is the entirely new archetype of this heavy sidearm in a way that we haven't. Like, we have one heavy hand cannon. It's that idea of taking a primary and then making it something that's much more dangerous with the different ammo economy, different damage and stuff like that. And this thing is wild. Like, I'm mostly showing it off in Gambit because it's kind of a universal place to, enemy health is streamlined and player damage is streamlined, and like I'm not going to just jump into a master raid for this because you know me. And it can, like, obviously it one-shots all red bars pretty much, except if they're crazy tanky. And I have major spec on, and I'm one-shotting orange bar hobgoblins, and then you can even do that through the shield because there's anti-barrier this time. So beefier things, like a Minotaur might be 2 shots, Colossus might be 3 shots. If I have Adagio on, I think it's Adagio, and I have the damage boost on, that's even more. If you have Volt Shot on, you can do a little bit of mom clearing with it, but I wasn't reloading fast enough or often enough to use that. I need a Impulse Amplifier Volt Shot roll, which I don't have yet. But I like my lead for gold Adagio because it really helps the ammo economy. And as you can see from this footage, I'm using this as a primary because it destroys everything. Those red bars, the orange bars, and then the yellow bars even. You can 4 or 5 shot really any yellow bar here. And doing a little bit of testing this also works with a lot of champions where it can one-shot the barrier shield of most champions, I believe even in Master, and do significant damage to them because its damage is so high. And I know it doesn't, like, I think Fusions still technically outdamage it. I think it will outdamage it overall because of the ammo economy, but in terms of like short burst damage, Fusions are still on top. However, there are still plenty of use cases for this where, as you can see maybe later in the video, like, this can hit primeval envoys from when I'm like standing, at the boss. Like I think there's some fall off, but it's not much. And so not only can you hit things from really far away and still do big damage, I don't think there's any splash damage from this. So you can be right next to something and your exploding rocket rounds are not going to hurt you, which is not true of most exploding projectiles in this game. And so if you're jammed up, it practically works like a shotgun because you're doing just so much damage to these things right in front of you, and it has no ill effects on you. It may not be, the best boss DPS itself. It's probably okay in a jam, but you can do it from different ranges. You can do it, once we get more versions of these, they will synergize better with your build, because right now we just have this arc one, and this is not exactly an arc-based season. So that's proves a little bit of an issue unless you are running arc. If you want it amplified by the damage stuff, or if you want Volt Shot to work a little better. But you can use this on any subclass, and it's kind of that good where I think it's going to be worth it regardless. Again, I'm not Mr. Master PvE strategist here, but this is a really fun weapon that I think is one of their best designed archetypes in a while. We have a healing auto rifle coming at some point, which does not sound quite as exciting to me because I don't love having to aim things at my teammates. Lumina is a little different because it's such tracking rounds. I mean, maybe the auto rifles will, but I was wondering what a rocket sidearm would be like. And now that I know what a rocket sidearm would be like, I want like 5 more rocket sidearms. I don't know what's going to happen with this, like if it's going to do the whole glaive thing where they had to like buff glaives a bunch of times. This does not seem like it needs a bunch of buffs, honestly. And I'm not calling for a nerf, but man, it is very strong. I have no idea what it's doing in PvP. The damage, I can't judge that. So you guys can tell me how it's doing in PvP. I know everyone has their kind of set loadouts already, and it's only a couple of days of even testing this. So how much can you really know about it in just a few days here? But for PvE, this is easily one of the most fun things I've seen from this in a very long time. And I know the rest of the loot pool is not great. So the armor set is so-so, and the other weapons could be better. I would like to get the exotic. I guess it's sort of the exotic version of a rocket sidearm, I think, but I've heard sort of mixed things about it, and obviously it's an exotic, so that's going to take up that slot, so you better really, make sure it's worth it. But right now I'm satisfied with my normal rocket sidearm. I'm still going to farm for an impulse Volt Shot one, maybe Flared Magwell, so I can see how that works more as a mob clear, but right now I really like it just for heavy hitting anything. And if you can get, your finders going, if you can get the ammo economy good, you can pretty much use this as a primary. It comes with so much ammo, and maybe it depends on the context. I know Gambit has less enemies than all the crazy density we have now, but it's also exploding rounds in a way that is exploding way more than, say, explosive rounds. So you can kill multiple enemies with one shot if they're close to each other. Yet another great benefit of it. So I've liked a great many things about this season so far. I think the coil is one of the best activities they've ever done. I said it was better than Menagerie. I still stand by that, and this is even ahead of more stuff opening up tomorrow, and we can do that whole debate again, but you can just watch my video. And the dungeon is one of the best they've ever done, certainly. It's fantastic, and then we have an exotic quest coming. Don't know when exactly, sometime in the next 6 months, but those are usually really good. Given what they've made, recently, I would not expect it to be bad. So that could be another great thing. And all of this is, the game going through a lot of struggles right now, but I can't fault them as your content just sucks and it's not fun. It's great. It's very fun right now. It's just, I think people are burned out of the game as a whole. They're disillusioned from the Bungie layoffs. The delay is happening, and Lightfall was bad and made people quit. There's a million reasons, but I don't think, at least the last 2 seasons, that the quality of content is one of them. So I would jump back in, get one of these sidearms. Again, you can just farm the first boss, which you can, really short runs, and just you'll get a bunch of sidearms if you kind of get it down to a science. I've just been running those with random people for fast farms, and if you want to try it out, it's not like, if you're not a dungeon matchmaking person and there's no Fireteam Finder, it's pretty easy to just go on the website and just say first boss only, which is what I've been doing, and maybe you can join me on a run this week. But yeah, so anyway, thank you for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.